Let's dive into this, guys. Today is all about making sure you as a small business owner are set up for success in 2025. When it comes time to the end of the year, this is when a lot of times people are starting to self-reflect and look on the past year, things that they've done well, things that they wish they would have done, and they start planning for their New Year's resolutions. Well, as a business owner, we need to make sure that we are going into the new year with a plan, because if not, unfortunately, we're just going to keep repeating the same mistakes. And so think about where you're at right now with your business. How has business grown over the past years? Did you hit your goals that you're wanting to hit? If so, that's awesome. Props to you. But unfortunately, for a lot of small business owners, they still didn't reach those goals. They're frustrated right now because they knew that there was more inside and they could have done a lot more. But unfortunately, they were not able to execute on all the things that they needed in order to reach their goals. So on this training today, it is going to be all about giving you guys the complete blueprint and framework that you need in order to make sure that your marketing is set up for success so that your business grows and you dominate your industry. As we go through this, kind of laying some context to everything that we're doing, I would say there's going to be something here for everyone. But specifically, if you are a local service-based business, this is 100% the marketing blueprint. Save this video, rewatch it. Make sure you guys are taking notes, because if you were a local service business, this is step-by-step everything that you should do. That's the type of clients that we work with at our agency, Sean Garner Consulting. So we work with local service businesses to help them grow their business and dominate their industry. We help them by putting them all through and doing it for them, this framework that we're about to share with you guys today. So as we're going through this, if at any time it does seem overwhelming, I get it, because we do this for a living for our clients and it can be a lot, but at the same time, that's also why we are here. We are here to serve you. So if any time you don't even make it through halfway of this training, I don't want you to get frustrated that you can't do this thing and quit and give up. Instead, click the link down here below, go to seangarner.co/contact, book a call with me, and we will execute all this stuff for you and show you how we can make your business grow. So saying all of that, guys, let's dive into our training today. So for us to make sure that we have everything that we need in our marketing to make sure that it's set up for success, we have a 3-step framework that we use with our clients. And that's what we are going to cover today, is what those 3 steps are and how you can execute on those 3 steps so you can make sure that you have everything in place in your marketing. And the 3 steps are this. Number 1, we believe you have to build a sales funnel. Number 2, you then have to fill that sales funnel. And then 3, you have to optimize your sales funnel. So that might just sound like fluff right there to you, but we're going to dive down into each one of those things. So starting off, step 1 is build a sales funnel. Well, what is a sales funnel? A sales funnel, you've probably heard that term before, and it's not a software tool. So you might have been popularized with the term funnels by something like ClickFunnels, which is a marketing software. Whenever we refer to a sales funnel, that is your complete process for being able to capture and nurture leads to make them become super fan customers. So it is the complete system. And so in that system, there is several different parts. And so in order to, before you can capture those leads, you got to have a net to catch them in, right? So that's what your whole funnel is the whole process of where you capture and store and nurture and hopefully close your leads. After you do that, the next thing is how do you fill that? Because just because you build it doesn't mean people are going to start showing up to your website and enter into your sales funnel. You have to have a strategy to fill it. And in the strategy today, we're going to talk about organic and then paid strategies that you can use to then get people to get inside your sales funnel. And then the third one is optimization. I don't believe that once you do something, just having a website doesn't mean that it's done, right? Just creating these email campaigns, it doesn't mean it's done. We want to make sure that we're optimizing everything that we do with data. I always tell our clients, we do not make decisions based upon personal preference or emotion. We make decisions based upon data. So we want to be able to look at the data that we're pulling in, because in digital marketing now, guys, there's data points for everything. So if you don't know what to do, there's going to be data points on what you need to be able to do and what you need to tweak and change. And then the other aspect of the optimization is automation. And so we're going to make sure that we're starting to automate some of those repetitive tasks, things that we might be missing or things that we want to be able to scale up. So diving in, guys, let's build a sales funnel. So like I said, a sales funnel is step one. You've got to build your sales funnel. A sales funnel comprises of several aspects. The very first thing that a sales funnel includes is your branding. Now, whenever we talk about branding, we talk about it from two different outcomes. We talk about the visual identity of your branding and the words that you use. So whenever it comes to the visual part of your branding, that's going to be things like this, like a brand sheet. That's going to have your logos, your colors, your fonts that you're using. So that way, as you're building out your brand, everything looks the same. But even though when people think of branding, they often just relate it and correlate it to the visual side, to us, what is the most important aspect of your branding is the words that you use. And so for that, we utilize and follow something that is called your brand script. So I'm a certified story brand guide. And so what that means is there is a messaging framework that we use and leverage for our clients to make sure that you stand out with a clear brand message, because words ultimately is what sells. That's what gets people to buy. You've probably never heard this or said this to, like, oh, look at that logo in that business. I want to do business with them. Like, no, the logo may have attracted you to them because it caught your eye. It looked clean and professional, which is great. I'm not by any means like putting down visual branding, but most likely what happened with yourself, and if you own a business, what your clients or customers say to you is like, man, it felt like you were just talking directly to me, or man, it's like you were inside my head. You knew exactly what I was thinking. That to me is what makes a really good brand messaging brand script. So for that, like I said, we follow the story brand framework. And what that is it is 7 different talking points of your marketing messaging that helps you to stand out with a clear message and positions your customer as the hero instead of making it all about you. So these are the different aspects of your brand messaging script that you need to have. One is the character. So a lot of times when people think about this section of their brand scripts and their messaging, they're thinking about demographics. Like, oh yeah, it's, I serve, men ages 35 to 45 years old. They make this much money. That's not what we're talking about here. We're thinking about this in talking points in the aspect of storytelling marketing. So whenever we talk about the character, we want to get down to the deeper level, and we want to be able to answer the question, what do your customers want as it relates to your product or service, right? But going through this whole story arc, the character wants something, but dun, 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 there is a problem. There's typically 3 aspects of the problem. There's the external, internal, and philosophical problem. And what these are is that's what's preventing the customer from getting what they want. So they want something, but there's a problem. And that problem is the external, which is the main thing they're dealing with. The internal, which is how does it make that customer feel to have to deal with that problem. And then the philosophical. Why is it just plain wrong that the customer is having to deal with that? Well, they've had that problem. They know what they want, but they got a problem. And then comes along a guide. This is you. This is where you position yourself as the right guide for them with 2 things, empathy and authority. So empathy is a statement that shows you understand what it's like to be in their shoes. We don't want, in our marketing and with our business, we don't want to make it all about us. We want to show that we understand what it's like for our customers to have to deal with that problem. On the other side of that coin is authority. We want to show that we've actually solved this problem for people just like them. So not only do we understand what it's like to have to deal with this problem, but we can actually solve it, right? So it's one thing if you're like, oh man, yeah, that really sucks that you're dealing with that. Yeah, I deal with that too. Like, that's a lot of empathy, but if you don't have any authority to help me, why are you the right guide for me? So we want to make sure that as our customers are looking for what they want, they know they have a problem, or we're going to identify that problem for them. So again, it makes it sound like we're in their head and we're saying the words that they're thinking. And then we position ourselves as a guide by showing empathy and demonstrating authority. Well, after we've done that, we want to make sure that we give them a plan. So this is one of my favorite things that I think adds so much clarity to business is, what do I actually need to do to do business with you? What are the 3 steps that I need to do so I can get this problem solved? Like, man, yeah, you understand what I want, but and there's a problem. Man, you seem like a great guide. What do I do next? So we want to give them a very simple 3-step plan to show how simple it is to do business with us. Because if we don't tell our customers, they're going to get confused. They might add steps into the plan that don't really exist. And so we want to show them how easy it is to do business with us. So it's going to be something like step 1 is schedule a call. Step 2, we create your custom plan. And step 3, experience success and get the body of your dreams, something like that. The next thing that we do, though, is we want to call them to action. So we want to give them that plan, but people typically do not take action unless they are called to action. So in our marketing, in our branding, we want to have 2 types of calls to action: direct and transitional. So a direct call to action is, what is the main thing that somebody has to do in order to do business with you? This is not contact us. This is not learn more. This is clear and direct, because with this, clarity always wins. So this is schedule your call, book your appointment, buy now. It is the main thing that we want them to do. But hey, guess what? Not everybody that comes to your website is going to be ready to buy from you. So that's where we want to have your transitional call to action. So this is what we would call in the marketing world, this is your lead generator. So for those people that aren't ready to buy when they first land on your website, we don't want to, we're going to be talking here about filling your funnel in just a second. So we've done all this work to get somebody to your website. Well, what do we do there? We want to have a transitional call to action. This is going to be something that we can give to them in exchange of value, which in this case would be their email address or their phone number. So we could follow up with them. So when the time is right, we can, they think of us. So that is going to be our lead generator. But now guess what? We want to show them all this stuff and call them to action. And then this point right here, there's kind of a fork in the road. We want to show them how to avoid failure, because most people think that they live kind of honestly in a state of mediocrity. They don't think that it's going to get any worse, but they also don't think that it can get any better. So we want to not fearmonger, but we want to remind customers that what they are going to continue to deal with if they don't do business with us. So with this, the analogy that we often use is like baking a loaf of bread. So whenever we're doing our marketing messaging, the failure aspect is going to be salt, right? When you're baking bread, you got to have just a little bit of salt in it so it has some flavor. And then the success section, which is all the great things that'll happen when they do business with you, that's like the flour. We want to have a ton of flour in the bread and just a pinch of salt. So whenever we're creating our marketing collateral, we want to have just a little sprinkle just to show that, hey, this is actually what you're going to keep dealing with if you don't get this problem solved. But the flip side is, if and when they do business with you, that is going to help them to land in success. So they're going to experience all the amazing things and how their life is going to be changed after they have done business with you. So talking about building a sales funnel, I don't want to go in too much details with all of these things. I know I went by that really quickly, guys. If you go to our YouTube channel, we've got more in-depth training on each one of these aspects. But that is the foundations of your branding when it comes to building a sales funnel. The next thing that you need with your sales funnel is you need a website. You need your digital storefront, a place where potential customers and customers can go to where they can see all of this messaging put into place. Now, when you're building a website, there are several key aspects that you should have in place. And we've done other trainings on those in the past. We have the 10 sections that you must have in your homepage. And this is actually a free guide that we have on our website. It's the Click the Client website template. You can go to SeanGarner.co, and we actually have a ton of free stuff, by the way. We've got our free marketing report you can do. We've got the marketing domination checklist, which is kind of an overview of a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today. We got our Google review scripts for getting you more leads or more Google reviews for your local business listing. And we got this website wireframe template, which is right here. But with your website, there is a certain framework that you want to follow to make sure that it's set up to convert. Because your website should just not look pretty, but it should get you sales and it should get you leads. That's the whole purpose of the website. It is not a glorified social media platform where it's like, hey, look at me, look at this pretty content. A website should be like a salesperson. It should be set up for success. Now, with this, the most important section, and this is the main one we're going to talk about today, is this header section. So if you look at this header, you can see how it's set up here and structured. This is how the header should be set up on your website. The logo is typically going to be in the top left corner, and then your main direct call to action, like we talked about, is going to be in the top right. Because when people read websites, they read them in this zigzag Z pattern. And so they don't, they're not sitting there reading every little thing, but it's going to scan the website in this Z pattern. So top left is going to be your branding. Top right is going to be the main thing we want people to do, because that is the most valuable real estate on your website. Then in the middle, or into the left-hand side here, we are going to have our header section. So we want to earn the scroll. So we don't want to you'll hear the term in marketing a lot called above the fold. That's like an old newspaper analogy. Whenever you used to sell newspapers, and you put the coin in and you would see it on the folded over in through the glass of what it was about. Well, everything that was above the fold was super important, because that's what actually got people to want to buy the newspaper. Same thing applies to your website. Everything above the scroll, so before you have to scroll, is very, very important. And when you're building your website, this should be the thing that you spend the most amount of time on, is this header section. So with it, it should do three things. It should answer the questions: what do you do? How do you make my life better? And what do I need to do to get it? If it doesn't quickly answer those questions within about 2 to 3 seconds, your customers are leaving your website. If there's a ton of copy, it's very confusing. There's 1,000 different links and things for people to click on. You don't have a clear direct call to action of what you want them to do. You are losing money on your website. And so that is you guys can see there's 9 other sections on this website, and all of this has to do, and we pull that copy that we talk about in our brand script into these different sections. You guys can go through and see this whole website wireframe. You can download this on the website to get this template. But that is just one key aspect of it, right? So we've started off with building our sales funnel. We've gotten our branding and logos done. We've gotten our messaging. So we know the words that we should be saying in our marketing. We've built out and we've wireframed out a website. Well, showing you guys here a few examples of what that actually looks like, so you guys have some practical takeaway here is, here's a law firm, for example. Let's look at some of these headers. So again, we should answer those 3 questions. What do you do? How do you make my life better? What do I need to do to get it? So we look right here. What do I need to do to get it? That direct call to action is we want people to schedule a call. So they got the logo in the top left, main call to action in the top right. Then again, people follow this zigzag Z pattern right here. So what does he do? Tulsa estate planning to protect your loved ones and preserve your legacy. Like, wow, how does that make my life better? Well, I'm protecting my loved ones and preserving my legacy. What do? Tulsa estate planning, schedule your consultation. Super simple. Right here's a plumbing company, Half Moon Plumbing. So what do? They're an Owasso OK plumber serving the greater Tulsa area. It's plumbing that will leave you over the moon. What do I need to do to get it? They can either reschedule service online, or they can call them 24/7. A med spa right here. Look, so what do? How do I know what it is? Hey, it's an Owasso medical spa. How is it going to make my life better? We're going to rediscover your natural beauty, and I can click there, my main call to action, to book an appointment. This company right here, Measured Home Service, what do? They're a Tulsa real estate appraiser and home inspector. How do you make my life better? I'm going to know exactly how much my home is worth, and you're going to give me peace of mind that I'm getting the best deal, and I'm going to schedule my service. WellSpot Functional Medicine. What do? Man, they're a telemedicine practice specializing in hormone replacement and functional medicine. How they make my life better? They get me back to feeling and performing my best. What do I need to do? I need to get started and become a patient. So that's some good examples right there of how you guys can see this header section here visually comes to life with some of these different examples right here. And so by using this framework, we have found that it works really, really well with converting and getting leads. Like we said, so that's the initial goal is we've got the branding set up, we've got the website, but guess what? Not everybody that comes to the website is going to be ready to buy. So for those customers, those are the ones where we're going to want to create a lead generator. So not everybody is ready to buy. So we want to make sure that we have something of value so we can follow up with those people. So if they don't come and they're not ready to schedule, well, we need to have some type of a guide so we can capture their information and we can follow up for when the time is right. When it comes to adding a lead generator on your website, if you don't have this, you're literally have a bucket of leads that you're filling up and water is just pouring out of it. And that water is your leads because you don't have a way to, if your website is set up to only serve people that are ready to buy, there's a whole bunch that aren't ready. So we want to make sure that everything is set up to where we can maximize all of our potential lead capture that we get. So for creating a lead generator, there's a lot of different things that you can do. We've had lots of other trainings on this in the past. To me, the most simple way to get started is some type of PDF checklist thing. So what you can do is you can come up with a checklist, a guide, a quick little ebook download. You can design that simply in Canva, or you can have a graphic designer obviously do that for you. And with that guide, it needs to do three things. Number one, it needs to have a clear and catchy title. We want to make sure that as people are scrolling through the website, if they're not ready to buy, they see that and it makes them want to take action on it. Two, it should deliver on a promise. It should get them a quick win, or it should give them the first step in solving the problem that they're dealing with. And then three is it should position you as an expert. We don't want these things to be super clickbaity to where it's got this awesome title and then people download it and it just falls flat. We want it to make sure that it's positioning you as an expert and an authority. But don't overthink this part, guys. This is not a huge novel that you're doing. The things that we've seen work best personally are things like templates and checklist. Like, for example, the thing that I just showed you right here, this website wireframe. This is one of our lead generators that we have on our website. So as I'm teaching you guys this stuff, I'm kind of showing you the magic tricks too. So on our website, we have the Click to Client website template, and this is very simple, but it adds a lot of value. It shows you exactly how you need to wireframe out a website. And if you compare that to this, you can see, hey, this is the sketched out version, and that's the pretty version. Then there's going to be three little things right there. Look at three little value stacks right here. Then it's going to go to this next section right here, which is the stakes. Like, it just follows this plan. So tons of value. Very, very simple to create. This was nothing that took a lot of extra work and stuff for us to do. We also have the marketing domination checklist. You can see right here, this is the 7 things that you need to have in your marketing to make sure that you dominate with your marketing. It's just a simple checklist that we have that you can download it from our website. Those little things, we just add them to the footer. We've got pop-ups on the website. So that way when people are on there, if they're not ready to schedule a call with us, we have those things set up and ready for them to get. Don't overthink this. Done is better than perfect, but you need to have these things in place to make sure that you have a solid sales funnel. So after you create your lead generator, that's one thing, but you've probably heard this before. The fortune is in the follow-up. So just because we've created this lead generator, the real secret and the magic comes between the next thing that we need, which is a sales email sequence. So on this sales email sequence, we want to make sure that we have a series of 5 to 6 emails for people to get followed up with based upon the type of lead generator that we downloaded. So kind of a framework that we follow with these 5 to 6 emails. There's lots of things to take into consideration, but we on average will deliver these emails about 1 to 3 days apart, and we deliver these kind of emails. So the first email that we do after somebody downloads the guide is just sending them the guide. It's like, hey, short and simple. Hey, thanks. Here's your guide. Hope it adds tons of value. If there's anything we can do, or you're ready to get started and us to execute this for you or whatever, schedule a call. The second email that we do is we talk about the main problem they're dealing with, and we position our products and services as the solution to that problem. The third email that we send is going to be a testimonial email. So we want to show how we've solved this problem for somebody else just like them, and we want to have a specific result that that person got. The fourth email that we have is we want to overcome an objection. So what is the main objection that you get with it whenever it comes to people buying your product or service? We want to state that before the customer has a chance to state it, because that way we kind of like beat them to the punch and we show that like, hey, we know that you're probably thinking this because you've had, this bad experience before, you've dealt with this type of a business before. And so we want to overcome that common objection. The fifth email that we send out with them, typically on that email that we send out, what we want to do is we want to show them the new way. Like, how is our method of doing it different than what they've done? They've tried the past. So we want to show them the new way of how our product or service is different. And then the sixth email that we send out is a sales email. So this is the big punch right here to where we're really trying to close the deal here. It follows a specific framework that we use to where it kind of encompasses all of those things in together, where we talk about the problem, position our product or service as the problem. We add a testimonial in there for social proof. We give them a call to action. We show them the 3-step plan to start working with us and the value that's inside of all the deliverables that we're giving them for the product service. Add another call to action, and then typically a signature with a PS in it with giving a one-time offer. That's what we do for our sales email. And I know I'm flying through all this stuff because we've got a ton of stuff that I make sure that I give to you guys so you can start building out that marketing domination checklist that you need for your marketing to make sure that you guys are set up for success in 2025. So as far as building out your sales funnel, that's the foundations right there. Everything that we just talked about and covered. Number one, you need your branding set up. That's going to be your visual branding and the words that you use. The second part of your sales funnel is your website. You need a website that's set up to collect leads and make you money. Third thing that you need is in part of your sales funnel is you need your email. You need a lead generator. Something that positions you as an expert, gives them a quick win, and has a clear, catchy title that makes people want to download. And then the fourth thing that is part of your sales funnel is that sales follow-up sequence. You want to make sure that you have a way to follow up with leads once they come to your website and download that lead generator, or they did book a call or schedule a service and everything with you. So that is step one of everything that we need, is we need a sales funnel. Well, just because we build it doesn't mean people will come. So we want to go now into step two of what we need to set up our marketing for success in 2025, which is fill the sales funnel. So you've built this amazing thing. How do you get people to actually show up to it? So we are a big believer of, especially with the types of businesses that we use, is with organic marketing. So organic marketing just means you're not paying for it. With marketing and driving traffic to websites or customers to websites, you're either paying for it with money or you're paying for it with time by doing organic content and creating the content to get people to the website. With our agency at Sean Garner Consulting, we are a big SEO agency. So we do all the SEO for our clients, and especially with the local SEO, the on-page SEO, technical SEO, content writing, all of the things to make sure that because we built it, people are going to start showing up. So we're not going to do a super technical nerdy SEO talk on this stuff, on everything today. But what that means is there's certain ways that you need to make sure that your website is set up so that way Google knows it's there. So whenever your potential customers are looking for your product or service, your business has the opportunity to show up. I do want to, only disclaimer I want to say on SEO is not something that's done. It's something that you do. So I know a lot of times I'll be talking to small businesses and they're like, oh yeah, we've done SEO. Well, if you're not doing it consistently, you're not really doing SEO. That would be like, I relate this to customers all the time with fitness. You don't have done fitness, you do fitness. Like you're constantly working out if you want to see results. The same thing happens with SEO. There's certain foundational things that need to be done from the get-go as far as an initial setup, but then to continue say that you're doing SEO means a couple of things. One, it means you're always looking for new link sources or backlinks to your website. The second thing is you're adding new content to your website on a regular basis. And the third thing is you're updating old content on a regular basis. So it's not something that you just do, set and forget. There is some strategy involved to make sure that your website is being seen, or what's called indexed by Google. So you have the more opportunity to show up online. The other aspect with starting to fill your sales funnel with content is social media. I will say this, I do not believe every small business owner should have a massive social media account and creating all this content and everything. But I do think that is important for most of them to, for sure, at least have the profiles on social media and then share some type of content. There's going to be a different content strategy for every type of business based upon the personalities of the owner, the industry, and kind of how they want to leverage it. But for the most part, you still should view your social media accounts as some type of digital storefront. So this is going to be what customers think about. I say this to clients all the time, like, you're not that special. And it sounds harsh, but what I mean by that is how you do things and engage with businesses is how your customers or potential customers do the exact same thing. So think about this. When you're looking for a product or service, you typically will go to Google, you'll type that in, then you'll go to their website, and then you'll probably either book a call, then you might download some free guide, hopefully, if it sounds awesome, and then you go start checking them out on social. So on your social media, it should be set up with the level of professionalism as your website and as the rest of your branding and everything. It should be clear messaging on what you do. It looks bad if it is a bunch of random photos that are on there, or maybe it was like a personal account that you converted to your business account, and like there's pictures of your cat on there, like, I don't know, and it just doesn't look like the level of professionalism of the service that you offer, or you haven't posted anything in 3 years. If you're not going to be active on social media, you shouldn't be linking it on your website and promoting it, because what that does is it makes it look like you're possibly not even in business anymore. So as you're thinking about filling up this social media, your sales funnel, leveraging social media, you need to think about those aspects, but then also how you're going to leverage social media for your business. Is this going to be, which for most businesses, it probably should be, a way for just building brand and community, or are you actually going to use it as a sales channel? Because there's going to be two completely different content strategies for those. If you plan on using social media as a sales channel for your business, it means you're going to be pretty active on it. You're going to be creating a lot of content, responding to people in direct messages, and it's going to be a lot more work and effort than what most small business owners are really actually ready for. They think that they're going to create a couple of posts and now all of a sudden everybody that they know is going to watch every single video that they post. And I mean, it's, again, you're not that special. It's just like how you engage with content. So that's going to take a lot more effort and work versus most small business owners should just have some level of content up to where it's a couple of posts a week, a couple of stories and stuff like that, especially for local service businesses. So that way you're at least showing up new, fresh, relevant content. So if they do find you on your social channels, it at least looks like it's a fresh, relevant account. So, and that you are still in business, shown behind the scenes, all of that stuff. So that's that. The big aspect, I think, to fill the sales funnel, I'm a big believer of content marketing. So what I'm going to share with you next may sound overwhelming, but I want you to hear me out. I firmly believe that this is one of the best strategies and the best return on your investment of your time for local small service businesses to create content so they can start filling their sales funnel. So if you think about it, if I said, hey, I need you guys, if you really want to truly fill your sales funnel, you need to be creating new content for your websites. It's going to be blog articles, and you need to get people, you need to be creating content that can be indexed for SEO. Well, the other thing that you need to be doing is you need to be creating video content. You need to be creating social media content and post for that. Another thing that you need to be doing is you need to be sending out emails to your list. So each week you're reminding those customers that didn't buy or even returning customers about your products and services and adding value. That's a lot of content to be creating. So how, as a busy business owner, are you supposed to do it all, or can you do it all with the smallest return of investment on your time? That is what we call podcast domination. So before you just switch off, oh, this is dumb, he's going to tell me to start a video podcast, let me tell you I'm going to show you the magic trick here of why I think more people should be doing a video podcast. So first, you have to understand when I say you should do a video podcast, what the goal and intention behind it actually is. The goal and intention behind you starting a video podcast for your small business is not to create this big Joe Rogan style podcast where you're trying to just grow the podcast. Think about the podcast as a content style. And after I tell you guys this, you're going to start noticing that you see this on social media a lot, especially in like professional service, thought leader type content. It's going to be content that looks like it was shot on an iPhone just like this, and they're standing in front of a microphone. They're probably looking off to the side camera like this. I'm going to tell you the secret of what they're actually doing whenever they're doing that. What they're doing is they've set up a camera. They've got a ton of list of questions and content right here over to the side, and they're just reading those off, and it looks like they're talking to somebody and having this engaging podcast conversation, but it's just them and one camera in the room because it's a content style. Why I like this content style is, like I said, the biggest return of your investment of your time. So let me explain to you how I do this for myself and how we do this for our clients. So what we do is and if you are struggling to create content for your business, I would strongly suggest you consider this. Step one, you start a video podcast. The video pod, you can shoot it on your computer. You don't need fancy microphones or anything like this to get started. You can even just use your iPhone to get it set up. You're going to record a 30-minute show. There's several different ways that you can format your show, but on the ballpark here, let's say it's a 15 to 30 minute show where you are just teaching and talking about your product and service and showing, again, talking about all the list of, we go back to our branding, think about all the problems your customers are dealing with. You're just going to teach and talk on the podcast. You could possibly even interview people. If there's several other people in your business, you guys could have a co-host, go back and forth, all the things, but you're going to create the content, and it's going to be a 15 to 30 minute episode. Why this also just helps with getting started with content creation is on video podcast, the audience has lower expectations of what it should be. So it doesn't have to be this perfectly polished video. They know it's a raw, authentic conversation. So it makes the act of creating content, especially if you've never done this before, a lot less daunting to just getting started. So you're going to create your video podcast. We love using this platform. It's called Riverside.fm. I think that it's one of the best tools for doing a video podcast. They've got tons of plugins or editors and stuff built into it, so you don't have to even learn a lot of editing software. You can shoot, record, and edit everything right inside of Riverside. That's personally what we do even for ourselves and for our agency clients is use Riverside. So quick plug for them. I don't have any kind of affiliate link. Maybe I should, but I think that's a great way to record the video podcast. After you've recorded it, this is the secret is how you leverage the thing. So now you've spent 15 to 30 minutes recording a podcast episode. What you're going to do is then you're going to take that, and that is going to be the long form video podcast. You're going to upload it to Spotify as a video podcast that will automatically stream it out to Apple Podcasts, Amazon, all the different podcast platforms. Then you're also going to take that and you're going to upload it to YouTube. Guess what? YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So you're going to make sure that the video is optimized for the keywords that you're trying to rank for your website. And you're going to, especially if you have a local business, you're going to make sure that you include the keywords to your city and your phone number to your business and stuff inside of that video description and everything as well. So now we've got that set up. Well, guess what? Now what we're going to do is we need content to our website. Remember that? So then what we're going to do is we are going to create 2 pieces of content for the website. So step 1 is we are going to just pull the transcript from Riverside to the podcast, and then we are going to take that YouTube video and YouTube description and put it as a blog post on the website, and that's going to be a podcast page. So it's going to look very similar to a blog, but it's going to be the video embedded and the transcript. So now we got another piece of content on the website. Then what we're going to do is we are going to then take that transcript and we are going to put it in a tool like a ChatGPT or a content AI writer. I think AI content can be great if used properly. I don't think that it's great right now, especially for doing what's called like one shot or one prompt outputs, to where you just say, write me a blog article about, marketing tips, and it just spits all that stuff out, because you're just getting general content that it's generating based upon other things that it's read and indexed on the internet. What makes content rank is one of the factors in it is how authentic or how authoritative it is. So there's a formula, it's called EAT when it comes to SEO content. So expert, authoritative, and trustworthiness. And if your content is just rehashed content that you read online, there's no unique perspective on it, it's not going to rank and do well. But guess what? You just spent 15 to 30 minutes talking about a specific topic from your unique angle. So whenever you feed that transcript into a tool like ChatGPT and say, pull out my main thoughts and turn it into a blog post that ranks for this keyword that you're trying to rank for, well, now you've got an amazing or pretty stinking close blog article that'll get you 80 to 90% of the way there with some small edits that you can now add to your website as another piece of content. So far, we've done this 15 to 30 minute podcast episode. We've got a long form YouTube video. We've got a long form audio podcast. We've got a transcript or a podcast page on our website and a blog article on the website, which is 2 pieces of content. Well, then guess what? That same method that you use to create the blog post for your website, you're now going to create a smaller version of that and create an email for that to send out to your email list. So what are the 3 main lessons that we learned in this? And let's use that to promote our podcast to our email list. And so we're going to do that. And now we've got an email out of the thing. Well, now you've got this 30-minute clip. So what else can you do with that? You can cut that up into shorts. So then what you'll do, especially if you use a tool like Riverside, it makes editing inside of it really, really easily. You're going to look for key moments whenever you are recording and try to identify those shorts, and you're going to pull those out, and those are going to be short forms for Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikToks, if that's still around. And you're going to post those things everywhere. So now you've got short form content that's pushing people back to the long form content. So you've taken 15 to 30 minutes of recording time. Yes, there's other work that goes involved in doing that stuff, but look at the return of investment on your time versus if I said, hey, you need to write two content pages for your website, you need to send out an email, and you need to create some short form social content. That would take hours to do of time to create it. But instead, just by focusing for 15 to 30 minutes of record time, then you can leverage all of those other tools and stuff to scale out so it looks like you're creating a whole lot more content than the level of effort that puts into it. So I know that may not be for everyone, but I really do believe that style of content would be great for a lot of small business owners. Two other side notes on that, and then I'll get off the video, why you should have a video podcast rant. Two other ways that you can leverage that is for building authority and showcasing wins, and also connecting with other potential leads for your business. So let's think about a local service business. Let's take a plumbing company, for example, or a real estate agent. Okay. Well, a real estate agent can have a local show podcast that what they do is they do some episodes where they're teaching about real estate topics and what to look for in the market trends and everything else, how to buy your first house, what to look for, red flags, all of those things. Then they have other styles of episodes where they're bringing on clients. They're talking about the experience. What was it like for us to sell your home? What was it like for the home buying process with us? And they're able to now, that's a testimonial video for you. And now that is going to also just be more social proof and more content for you and for your marketing. The third way, I think, is the big secret that not enough people are leveraging video podcast for, is for getting new business. So if you own a business, you get, if not dozens, hundreds of cold outreach emails a month of people wanting to pitch you the product or service, how they can help you, all of those things. You don't listen to them. But if somebody reached out to you and said, hey, I've got this podcast that highlights local business owners, love the opportunity to bring you one so we could talk about what's made you successful. Well, you're probably going to want to come on there and talk about yourself. And then afterwards, not only have you started to build a relationship with that person, then afterwards it's open up the conversation. It's like, hey, you said something unique in that episode to where you were mentioning that, you're having difficulties with your space because you guys are growing so quickly and you're looking for a new space. I would love the opportunity to see if I could pull up some properties for you and see if we could find something that'd be good fit for you. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? Like, boom! You just you use it for cold outreach. Like it's a better version of the cold outreach with this video podcast strategy. So that's the other way that I like it, because especially if you don't have a massive social media following, you can leverage other people's network to where then once they're on your show, you're creating content for them and posting it to their socials. And like I said, best bang for your buck. And it doesn't have to be an actual podcast. It can be set up to where it is a style of content. So like I said, this is exactly, honestly, what we do for our podcast. You can go to SeanGarner.co/podcast. We have the Marketing Domination podcast, and you can see how we have the episode that we will film, and inside of here, we will embed, oh, goodness gracious. We will film the episode and we will add it inside of here. Then we'll come to the blog, go to SeanGarner.co/blog, and we'll make a blog post over the exact same topics. Then we'll take all of that content and we will add it to social, to YouTube, and all the things. So listen, we're everybody's busy as a business owner, so we need to find ways to scale the content. So we've built the sales funnel, guys. We know we need to do that now. There's some strategies on how you can start filling your sales funnel. Well, the last thing that is to set you up for success is optimizing your sales funnel. And how we want to optimize is with data and automations. So whenever it comes to our sales funnel, we always want to make sure that after we've built something, we're trying to fill it, and then we're going back and we're reviewing the data. So I want to give you guys some few key data points of how this should look, and then also show you how this all ties together and how it's honestly is a never-ending cycle, and what V2 of this all looks like. So whenever I'm looking at optimizing a sales funnel, the very first thing that we want to look at is the top line numbers. Like how much traffic have we had, and how many people have we had to go through this sales funnel? Because a lot of times I've noticed especially with small local service businesses, they typically don't get a ton of traffic to their website. So they're making changes without a lot of data points. So for me, I typically want to have several thousand page views before I'm thinking about changing things. Because if not, you could be making a change, and if it's such small numbers, the data is going to be skewed, so it's hard to know what exactly that you should change. But just some general ballpark numbers that I personally want to look at is after I make a change to a website, depending on the business and industry, and this is a very, very big range, guys. I typically will not change anything again. I'm going to wait until I've seen at least 1,000 page views or 1 to 3 months of data, so I can see trends of how things are performing on website changes, whether it be call to action button colors, it could be call to action button copy, it could be location, like all of those things. I want to make sure that I'm looking at on the website. What conversion rates are, all of those different things. The next thing is looking at the lead generators. So when we look at our email sequences, we're going to look at things like our open rates. Like, are people actually opening the emails that we're sending? If they're not opening the emails that you're sending, that has to do with your subject line. Well, it could be some server issues, but most likely it's the subject lines that you guys are using. If it's not enticing and making people want to open your emails, they're not going to open. So we're going to look at our subject lines that we're using if our open rates are low. For open rates, we want to shoot for a minimum of 20%. If you're not getting at least 20%, you're doing really bad. We really want to be upwards of closer to that 40+% for open rates. Because if you're hitting 20% or lower, we got to look at the subject lines that we're using. Then the next aspect that we want to look at is our click rates. So once somebody's opened the email, well, how are we calling them to action inside of it? So typically inside of our calls to action and the rates that we're looking for, that depends on a lot of factors like list size, what the offer is, and everything else. But typically we shoot for 0.5 to 3% click-through rates for our emails as a base level. Like, if you're not getting that, like, we need to definitely adjust things and look at that. So that's like some rough data points to look at whenever it comes to your optimizations. The other aspect of it is your automations. So I am a huge fan of automating and creating automations. We have just this month launched our CRM platform. It's called StoryGuide Funnels, and it is an all-in-one marketing toolkit made simple, and it's got your email marketing toolkit in it. It's got your two-way SMS text. You can do social planners, build sales funnels inside of it, your complete automation toolkit inside of here. And so I love this stuff. And so this point of step 3 of optimizing your sales funnel is where we really want to start automating things. I think what I see a lot of business owners do is they jump into automations too quickly, and they start building out things without thinking through the whole situation because they haven't done enough reps to know what actually should be automated in their business. And so by about this point in the sales funnel process, this is where we want to start looking at what repetitive tasks are we doing that we need to automate. Like, what does our pipeline look like? Is there certain stages to where whenever somebody books a call and they don't show up, we need to send reminders and all of those things. We want to build those things out. Obvious automations would be when somebody downloads our lead generator, it automatically sends an email sequence. Other automations would be like certain list cleanup. So like if somebody unsubscribes, what automations need to take place. And now even with the advancements with AI, especially inside of StoryGuide Funnels, there's AI voice assistants to where somebody can call and then AI can answer for you, and then they can add and book an appointment for you. Like, there's lots of crazy things that you can do from the automation side. The only thing that I would say with that is understand the nuances of automation before you start building it out. Don't build things out too complicated when you're first starting out, because there's going to be too many variables and you're not going to know how to edit something if it changes or if it's not working properly. And you also have to realize with automation, the idea sounds a lot cooler than it really is sometimes, because not everything should be automated. The things that should be automated are the consistent, repetitive things that we want to happen every single time. With what we do with our agency and with our software StoryGuide Funnels, we build out a lot of automations, and talking through this process with clients all the time, they start to realize like, oh, I like the idea of that, but I really can't automate that. Like, let's say, for example, you want to automate appointment bookings, but your appointments could either be virtual or in person. Well, that's a lot to think through because, well, if it's an in-person, what's your drive time look like to the facility that you're maybe going to versus an online appointment? You got to think about how that factors in with blocking off time on your calendar. Like, there's a lot of different things to think through, but saying that you should, as your business grows, start building out these automations. So recap of V1 of what you need to be setting up for your business. Step 1, to make sure that this year is your best year yet, you need to build a sales funnel. You need your branding set up, which is how your visual identity of your business looks, your logos, colors, and fonts, and your messaging. You need a clear brand message that makes you stand out. Then you also need a website. You need something that is working as an online digital storefront sales machine for you. It should be making you money and capturing you leads. How it captures your leads is with the fourth thing that you need, a lead generator on your website. You need something that exchanges of value, positions you as an expert, gives them a quick win, has a clear, catchy title so you can capture their information for the people that aren't ready to buy. The fifth thing that you need is that sales email sequence, that 5 to 6 series of emails that plugs people in after they download that didn't buy the first time, to hopefully get them to buy so they think of you whenever it is time to buy. After you've built your funnel, you got to fill it. So we're going to fill it with organic marketing starting off. We're going to be creating new content for our website, blog articles, sending out weekly newsletters to our list to remind them of us, and creating content online so we at least show up online. Or if we really want to scale this thing out and look like the industry leader and dominate, we're going to start a video podcast and we're going to scale all of this stuff out for us. After we have that set up, then we are going to automate and optimize. So we've got this thing built out. Let's say it takes you, 4 to 8 weeks to build out a sales funnel and really fine tune that. Then you're going to spend about another 3 months really filling and pumping it full of traffic with content. Then we're going to start this optimization process. We're going to be looking at our data points. What email subject lines do we need to tweak? What calls to action inside of emails do we need to move? Do we need to look at the copy on the website, changing calls to action buttons? Do we need to do a different style of content? What needs to happen in order for us to optimize this for maximum amount of conversions? And because it's super confusing, we like to use simple tools like StoryGuide Funnels. You guys go to storyguidefunnels.com. It is your complete marketing toolkit for only $149 a month. We do all the onboarding and setup for you, so you don't have to worry about it. That is base 1 of 2025. And if you do this, guys, and you follow that system, I guarantee you your business will grow and you will stand out as the industry leader. But that can sound super overwhelming and confusing, but that's why we do it for you. So at Sean Garner Consulting, that is our marketing agency, guys. We build, fill, and optimize the sales funnel for small business owners just like you, so your business grows and you stand out online. We've got an amazing results for all of our clients, getting them to rank to the top of Google, so their sales funnel is always full with new leads. You want to have a conversation with me and we want to see how we can help your business grow, guys, go to seangarner.co/contact, click the schedule a call button, book the time right here that works best for you. And I would love the opportunity to connect with you, hear more about your business so we can see how we can help you grow. I want to make sure that 2025 is your best year yet and that it grows and you dominate in your industry. I think that too many businesses are held back by bad marketing. So let's fix that for you with great marketing that clearly stands you out as the expert leader. Guys, thanks so much for this training. Hopefully these have been tons of value for you guys. You got some key takeaways and everything for this. Please let me know anything that we can ever do to serve you guys, and we'll talk to you guys soon.